Hi everyone. In this video, I would like to show you how to locate, download, and install the software that you need for creating and running Java programs. So we're going to be looking for the JDK, the Java Development Toolkit, which will give us pretty much everything we need to be able to um, write, compile, and execute Java programs. But we're also going to download and install the JGrasp IDE integrated development environment, which is a lightweight editor that is going to help us be more productive and more efficient in our coding. It's going to make the whole process easier. Okay, so let's start with the JDK. First thing I'm going to do, currently Java belongs to Oracle. They bought the rights from Sun Microsystems in 2010, which means whatever the latest software is, it's going to be available on the Oracle website. I believe I do have a version of JDK installed on my laptop. It's probably not the latest version, so I'm going to go to Oracle and then click on Products and click on Java. There's a Download Java button up in the top right corner. I'm going to click that. And it looks like the latest version is 14.0.2. All right, so before actually, I'm going to click on it so I can start downloading, because I believe it's a pretty large file, probably about 150 megabytes. I'm going to click on that. Let's see. Okay, I need to specify which operating system it is for. My laptop is running Windows, 64-bit Windows. So this is what I will be needing. Now, if you have a Unix machine, you're going to select the appropriate Unix version of the JDK. If you've got a Macintosh, you're going to select that too. So the JDK is system dependent. You have to be careful when you're selecting which software to download, and make sure you select the one for your personal machine. This is software that's already installed in the classrooms, so in the classroom you're not really going to need to do this, but I still wanted to show you the process because chances are you don't have that on your personal computers and you will need it. So I'm going to click on the executable file. Alright, I agree with the way the software is licensed. I'm going to click on the download button. Click on save file. Where do I want to place this? I want to place this somewhere where I can easily and quickly find it later on. So on desktop is fine. I'm going to click save, and it's going to start downloading the software. Looks like it had already started, but I want to back up here for just a moment and just spend a quick moment talking about what exactly is the JDK. The JDK is the Java Development Toolkit, and it includes basically everything that you need if you are a Java software developer. Okay, so we're going to talk more about this in the other videos. The JRE is the Java Runtime Environment. This is that part of the platform which is designed to run your Java applications. The JDK includes it, but it also includes tools for developing, debugging, and monitoring Java applications. So basically, it's got everything that you may need. It's got the software for running the programs and the software for compiling and creating the programs. As a matter of fact, you don't even need an IDE when you're programming in Java. You can just use Notepad. The rest of the tools are already in here, and you can just use the JDK to compile and run your application. But we are going to take the time to install an IDE as well, because, like I said earlier, it's going to help us really be more productive and more efficient in our coding. Okay, looks like this is done. I have downloaded the software and click on open file. Um, Click yes to start installing it. Okay, next. Alright, it looks like it wants to be placed inside the program files /java/jdk 14.0.2 folder. If you want to change that, you can. Just please remember where you place your software so that you can find it later on. In fact, I will need to find this location later on because I want to try it and just see if I can create and execute a Java program using just Notepad and the tools that are in here. So I'm going to memorize this location. You will not need to do this again once you start working with the IDE, because the IDE is smart enough to find exactly where your Java is, or at the very least, it will give you the opportunity to show it where Java has been installed just one time, and then from that point on, it will know how to use the tools. You never really need to worry about where exactly Java has been installed. Okay, so I've memorized this location. I'm going to click next. This may take a little while because it looks like it's the 160 megabytes are going to get it expanded into 420 megabytes on disk. Oh, there it is. It's already successfully installed. I'm going to click close. All right. And what I want to do next is test it. Okay. For that purpose, I will need to create a really basic Java application. So I'm going to type Notepad. If you're using a Mac, there's probably a basic text editor you can use on your Macintosh computer. Notepad is the most basic text editor you can use in a Windows PC. So I'm not going to go through the code just yet. Really just a single statement. I want to create a program I can actually run. Let me call this my test Java app. It's an app for testing whether Java works or not. It have a single function to run the application, and it's going to be called main public static void main. Again, this is going to be just a couple of lines. You don't really need to worry about everything in there just yet. I will explain all the lines and all the commands eventually. Today we just really want to have a Java source code program that we can compile and run. Okay, what exactly am I going to be doing? I have system out print line. I want to display some kind of string onto the screen in the console. I just say test app executed successfully. Every statement in Java needs to end with a semicolon. I need to close that method. I need to close the class. All right. Now I gotta save the file. I'm gonna go to save as. If you're using a text editor like Notepad, chances are it will append a txt extension at the very end, so be careful about that. I'm going to switch to all files to see if I can avoid that. Where am I going to be saving this file? It's really a good idea to be well organized. So in my case, I want to, by default, looks like I'll be saving stuff inside documents. I'm going to create a new folder in there and call it projects, which is where I'm going to be saving all my Java projects. Open that. The name of the file should match the class name that you created, so I cannot just call this anything. I have to call it test Java app. So test Java app, and I need to add the Java extension. This is how I tell the system this is supposed to be a Java source code file. I click Save. Okay, looks like I'm done with the file. Close out of the Notepad application and start the command prompt. Okay, once we're in the command prompt window, we can go ahead and check and see whether the Java runtime environment and the JDK are accessible. We can just type Java, hit enter. In my case, it already is. Don't worry if yours doesn't run. I'm going to show you how to add the path as an environment variable so the system can find your software in just 1 second. If you want to check on the version, you just do java-version. Okay, it looks like I got the latest version, 14.0.2. And the program that allows you to compile your source code from the command prompt is javac. Okay. Again, in my case, I can already access that just by typing its name. If you cannot, don't worry about it. I'm going to show you how to add the path in just a second. So javac-version, that's the correct version as well. Okay, so what's the path variable? Now this is there's going to be something similar on Mac computers, Unix versions as well. In Windows, you can just click on the little Windows button in the bottom left corner and type path, and the system tells me you're probably looking for the environment variables. Yep, that's the case. The dialog box that opens, there's a button called environment variables. I can click on that, and it looks like well, I already went through the trouble of adding my folder inside the path variable here. You probably are not going to have that by default. I'm not really sure. It depends on how the operating system does this, or how the software, once you install it, does this. I'm not really sure JDK is going to update the path environment variable for you. Some IDEs do that, but I don't think the JDK does. So once you locate the path variable, you can click on Edit and simply make sure that the folder where the executable files are located is in there. Okay, I'm going to open the Windows Explorer and go to Program Files to show you this. On the C drive, I remember that I installed JDK inside the Java folder inside Program Files, and it looks like I already had a version of the JDK. It is probably still installed. I need to uninstall it, but this is the latest one. And in there, the bin folder, this is the binary folder, is where all the executables are going to be. So Java and Javac are the two pieces that you're going to need if you want to do this from the command prompt. So Javac is the compiler, and then Java is the runtime environment. All right. That one isn't in this one folder, but it's. Let me check on the path variable again. Okay. I had the Java runtime environment pre-installed, so it's in a different. Oh, hold on. Let me take another look. Okay, the way we search, click on here, and I'm going to ask Windows to look for anything that starts with Java. Okay, sort by type. There it is. All right. So it just had a different icon. So the Java exe is the program that you use to execute your bytecode, the compiled application. Okay, we'll talk more about that in another video. And Javac is the compiler. These two come bundled with JDK, and you can use them if you want to, or you can just leave that up to the IDE. Okay, back in the command prompt, I now want to use them and see if my program works. Close out of all of these windows, and here I actually saved my source code inside. It's going to be inside Documents, I created a subfolder called projects. Okay, you are free to use any folder you like. Just remember where you save your apps and try and be organized. This is going to make your life much easier down the road. So I'm going to cd, oops, let me see. Okay, so in here I got the test Java app. It's a source code file. The way I know that is um, by the fact that it's got a Java extension. So I'm ready to compile it. I'm going to do Java C with the name of my source code file. If there are any syntax errors, the compiler will refuse to produce an executable program, and it will tell me what it believes the syntax errors are and where they are. However, if there are no syntax errors, you just get back your command prompt, and that's how you know the compilation was successful. Let's do another list of the directory. Now I've got a .class file. The class files are what the Java runtime environment needs in order to be able to execute a program. So we don't have an actual exe files with Java. Once we compile our program successfully, we'll end up with class files. I'm ready to execute it. I'm going to do Java with just the name of my application, Java test Java app. I don't need to specify the extension. Hit enter, and it looks like it's working. So all it was supposed to do was print out a line saying test app executed successfully. And that's how we can compile and run Java apps from the command prompt. Okay, I'm done with this part. I now want to see how I can use an IDE. I'm going to exit out of here, type exit, and back to my browser. Now, regarding the version of Java, let's see whether we can check this on Wikipedia. I did take a quick look a moment ago. I'm asking Wikipedia to give me some information about the JDK. There's the version history. Okay. This could come up depending on which textbook you're using for this class. We do have a recommended one that I'm going to be using, and you're not really limited to it, so you can use pretty much any book you like that covers the basics of Java, or even online resources as well. But our book, I believe, is designed around the JDK version 8, which is still being maintained. As far as we're concerned, the differences are minor. They're negligible. We're not really going to be worried about the differences between these. I just wanted to check and find out where we stood right now. And it seems we are currently in Java version 14. And from what I can see here, next month when we start with the course, they're going to come up with a newer version, Java 15. We can update our version at that time. All right, so Java 14 is the current version. Next thing I want to do is locate the IDE of my choice. I'm going to go back to Google. And the one I like using is called JGrasp because, as I mentioned earlier, it happens to be a lightweight environment. And it's one of the easiest pieces of software, Java-based editors that people can use to learn how to program in Java and then program in Java. So it does everything the heavyweights do. NetBeans, Eclipse, IntelliJ, IDEA, I believe those three are currently the three big ones. The difference is that this one is way easier to download, install, and maintain, and it's designed with beginner programmers in mind, which is why I'd recommend it. So it's going to allow us to do everything we need to do, program, debug our code, but at the same time, it's really easy to download, install, and maintain. I'm going to click on the download link here. And by the way, I'm not limiting you to using just this. You're free to use any IDE that you prefer. If you are already using one, please go on using it. If if you're curious to try something else, again, please, feel free to do so. And if you like NetBeans or Eclipse or other IDEs better, by all means, use those. I've been assured that JGrasp will be installed in our classroom. I'm going to check and make sure that's the case. But chances are you don't have these on your machines. So I want to show you how to download it and install it. So if you scroll down, all you got to do is make sure you select the correct version. Okay, there's quite a few different versions. The one that I want is the latest stable version. Looks like this is JGrasp 2.0.6 from this year. It requires Java 8 or higher. We have Java 14, so we're good there. I'm going to click on the executable file. Click on Save File. Seems like I already have downloaded this in Downloads. I'm going to place it onto the desktop where I can easily find it. It's a very small, tiny file, 6 megabytes in size. Once it has been downloaded, you're going to locate the executable file, double-click it, and proceed with the installation. Agree. I don't see anything in particular that I want to change here. It looks like it will get expanded into 11 megabytes. It's a very small app to have on the computer. Where is it going? Again, not really something you need to memorize. Start menu item, JGrasp would be fine. Which extensions do you want to be associated with it? Okay, if you are already programming for another class or for work and you're a C++ or C# programmer, just be careful which extensions you select here. I really just I'm using Java currently on my laptop, and that's why I think it's fine for my JGrasp IDE to associate itself with all the extensions. So I can correct that later if I need to. One of the nice things about JGrasp is that it can handle code from other languages as well, such as C++, C. I can't remember all of them, but we can see in the menu. But I'm going to keep it the way it is right now. Click Install. It takes just a few seconds. Click Finish. And here's my icon to JGrasp. I double-click it, and it opens up the IDE, the Integrated Development Environment for me. Now this is what it looks like by default. I don't have anything open yet. I'm going to be using this for creating new projects and new programs. Right now I was hoping that I could perhaps just really quickly run one time this same program that I created a few moments ago. So I'm going to go to the File menu, click New. Let's start with creating a new project. Okay, quite often you're going to have more than one file and you'll need everything to be inside a project. So this is the best way to be organized. We're creating a new project. Where do I want to place this? As far as I recall, I wanted to place all my project inside Documents, Projects. What do I want to name it? Okay, it will be called well, I really want to delete this later on, so let me just call this temp. This is a good sign that I'm leaving, that this is something I'm not really going to need, so I can safely erase it once I'm done with it. Click Next. It creates a project file where all the information will be summarized, exactly what files are supposed to be in there. Add files to project now. Well, in my case, I do have the file ready, so I'm going to put a check mark in there and click Create. The project shows up in another window down here. What file am I adding? Okay. Again, inside Documents, Projects. I would like to add the Test Java app. Click Add, and done. Now it's part of my project. I can double click it here and it opens up in my editor. Pretty much everything can be customized. Folders, locations, settings, the size of this, the view of this. I'm not going to mess with it just right now, but I will see if there's way to make this easier to read and adjust some of the settings. From what I can see, I got all the code that I need here. Up at the top from the build menu, I first have to compile the code. Click compile. Down where the output window is, I can see that the compilation was successful. The operation is complete. Come back up here, and there's the run option. Click on run. And down where the output window is, I can see the output of my program. Test app executed successfully. Okay, that sums up the installation process. Just a quick summary, what I showed you in this video was how to locate, download, and install the JDK, as well as a sample IDE, in our case, JGrasp. The first one is used to set up the Java environment and the Java platform for you so you can create, compile, and execute Java programs. The second one, the IDE, is used to help automate the process a bit, to make the whole process a little bit easier, because quite often these programs are going to have syntax errors. That's normal. That's the way that it works. And you're going to need to be debugging them to locate some of those errors. Now, an IDE comes in really handy when you have to do that. So there's a debugger in here that's really easy to use, and will allow you to debug the code. I'll show you how to do that. But it also makes the whole process much less painful. So it organizes everything for you. It shows you the directory structure. It shows you the project structure, and the menu has the compile and run options. Like I said, just one more time, you're not required to use JGrasp if you don't like it, or if you simply prefer to use something else. You're welcome to try out and use other IDEs. They're all quite similar, actually, at least conceptually. So you're going to see that the windows, the number and type of windows is pretty much very similar, if not the same. The menus are quite similar. There are some differences, but like I said, this one is very, very small, very easy to download, install, and maintain, which is why I like it. And it can do everything the big guns can do as well. Okay, thanks very much for watching.